And here with me now are Dr. Hindi Klein and Yitzi Horowitz, who are going to be leading a discussion, or I should say having a discussion, at an upcoming event, July 23rd in the Young Israel of Woodmere. It's a clinical discussion on the self of the therapist. So, hi guys, maybe you could give us a little sneak peek overview of what we can expect at this discussion event.
Yitzi, would you like me to start, or would you like to start?
Sure. I'll jump in, I guess. First of all, thank you, Lisa, for giving us this little platform. What to expect? So Hindi and I have been kind of bantering back and forth about this topic for some time, and we wanted to do something that's not a monologue, but really a conversation between the two of us about the use of self. We're talking about the self of the therapist here, and we're talking about both the use of the self of the therapist in therapy, and also kind of looking at it from another angle, which is the effects of being a psychotherapist on the self of a therapist.
Okay. And
So-
Hindi, you were telling me that it's really going to be a question answer format between the two of you. What made you choose
Right.
that, and what can we, hope to gain from that?
Right. So I think that in my discussion with Yitzi, what we want to do, this is a clinical discussion, but it's also a human discussion. As you know, we are all of us, all people, all right, are part of the human condition. And we all have elements and aspects of the human condition. And what we want to do is have a conversation about what part of being a therapist affects us as people, and what part of us as people, which we would touch upon countertransferential issues, affects us as the person of the therapist. But the way we want to do it is by having a conversation that will address different questions that we want to ask ourselves as people and as therapists about that very intricate and exquisite intertwining of us as people and as therapists. So it's not just about, oh, what do you need to know about yourself as a person to be a good therapist? Well, how does the whole concept of being a therapist impact you as a person? What made us want to even go into what we call the healing profession? People go into it for different reasons. How much of our beings do we have to understand about ourselves that affect us as therapists? And how much of others, meaning the patients, how that impacts on us as therapists, which is the countertransferential piece, but as human beings, how are we affected? What does it do to us as people? I think that it's a very intricate conversation, and we've developed some questions that we'd like to ask each other about that.
I see that as part of the program, there's also a rabbinic panel. And, I think that we as therapists often have conversations amongst ourselves about what we want the rabbis to know and what we want the rabbis to understand. And we don't often spend time hearing from rabbis what it's like for them to work with us, to get calls from us, to work alongside us in helping people in the community.
Right.
And I think this is a unique opportunity to hear from this panel of rabbis. What is their experience? What do they want therapists to know about what their experience is of, because as therapists, unlike in the outside world, as therapists, our work is not separate from this person's spiritual or religious observance and their need for intersection with their rabbinic figures. And we don't often ask that question. What's it like for you, rabbis, to work with us?
Yes. One of the things that rabbis do that that it's taken me a while to kind of wrap my head around, but one of the things that rabbis do is they're really community leaders. As much as
Yes.
they're spiritual figures, they're also community leaders. And in some ways, for us as mental health professionals who are not community leaders, to interact with the community leaders, it's like, well, how do we fit in with the overall community? And I would just put the plug out there to say that as somebody who lives in the 5 towns and practices in the 5 towns, the idea that Nefesh is doing this in the 5 towns for clinicians in the 5 towns and Queens and Great Neck, it's really, I didn't hear what you said.
That everyone's invited, not just for the, for Queens and 5 towns, but everyone should come.
Everyone's invited, but I think it's just something very homey and personal to me and to my colleagues that are here, and to get rabbis and rabbanim from the community itself and to hear about their specific experiences and the way that they interact with us mental health professionals is really something that's remarkable. And what do we as clinicians need to know from the rabbis about their experience of interacting with this whole universe called mental health?
Thank you guys so much for doing this. I think this is going to be an incredibly rich and informative and interesting conversation to be part of. I think everyone is going to really enjoy the hearing from, but also the ability to participate in questions and answers, and then to network with each other in between and around the presentations. This is a really unique opportunity topic-wise and format-wise, and more of the same kind of opportunity that Nefesh tries to provide with networking. So looking forward to seeing everyone July 23rd.
Looking forward.
Rav Woodware.
Thank you.